Swadee krap, greetings from Bangkok. At the end of the month of February 2025. And this time I will touch a bit on the situation in Ukraine or the Ukraine-Russia military conflict in particular. And I have been a bit surprised and concerned about the pronouncement publicly of the President of Ukraine, namely Mr. Vladimir Zelensky. He has been coming out opposing the President of the United States, Mr. Donald Trump, making a lot of accusations in public. And my observation is that Mr. President Vladimir Zelensky seems to be losing himself, forgetting how he came into power and how his authorities were being sustained by the United States and the European allies. How his fight against the Russian invasion has been totally dependent on the financial support and the supply of all military equipment from the United States and members of NATO and or members of the European Union. The thing is that big powers have the might, and when big powers, namely the United States and Russia Federation, start to talk about ceasefire, peacemaking, humanitarian assistance and reconstruction of Ukraine, it should be a welcome sign and should be supported. Because Ukraine is not in the position to oppose. Its activities so far have been like a proxy state, acting on behalf of the United States and the European countries and so on. He has not been independent. He cannot act on his own. He has to be dependent on the goodwill and friendship of the United States and members of NATO organization and members of the European Union. And he has to think about his own people, that peacemaking to be arranged, initiated and so on by the United States and Russia is good for the Ukrainian people. They have gone through a lot of hardship. They have been suffering immensely. So it would be better for them to live in peace. And now the United States and the Russian Federation have started to have a discussion or negotiation on how to bring about the ceasefire and the peace making and so on. So he should not behave like a small mouse trying to roar, to shout as much as possible. It would come to no avail because he is not in a viable position or even to have enough of the bargaining power to realize his wishes and his aspirations and so on. And one thing that he has to be aware is the big picture that the United States, under the leadership of the current leader, President Donald Trump, he would like to have a more cooperative and cordial relations with the Russian Federation. And to do that, he must end the Ukraine-Russia war or conflict. And he would be in the position to provide post-conflict reconstruction and development of Ukraine. And the money that Ukraine has been borrowing on the United States and some members of the European Union has to be repaid. And President Donald Trump has offered to get rare earths from Ukraine as repayment, not the financial ones, but to be repaid in kind. All of this do make sense. It's up to President Vladimir Zelensky to think it in a more thorough manner. Look at the whole thing in a more comprehensive perspective. And I think peace should be the objective, not the continuation of the war. And he should be making friends instead of making more enemies and so on. It is not good for him, that's okay, but it is definitely not good for the Ukrainian people. So hopefully he will come to his senses and cooperate and to gain as much of the benefit as possible in a sort of a dire situation with limited capacity and bargaining power. Thank you very much. ขอบคุณมากครับ